Hey guys, it's Nina, President, National Nurses in Business. Gonna give it just a second and we'll get started. I gotta put my phone on Do Not Disturb so I don't get interrupted with phone calls. How's everybody doing today? Happy Tuesday. It's actually really sunny and nice here. I'm in Tennessee and it's been kind of gloomy and rainy, and we even had snow last week. I'll turn my AI music down. It's called Chill. And I thought it was fitting for today's topic. So I'll go ahead and get started. For right now, I'm by myself. I'm not really sure that Casey's in a place where she can join. So as always, I really love and rely on your communication and feedback in the chat. That is like the whole reason why I do this, is because I love to hear different thoughts and perspectives. You guys certainly have values and insights that I don't have, and I really love hearing people's perspective on things. So the chat is open for you. Comments, thoughts, insights, whatever you may have to add. If you just joined, Casey may not be in a place where she can join today. She's going to try, so she may hop on later. But as of right now, you're just stuck with me today. So sorry about that. But I'm really excited about the topic. So we're talking about mastering your mindset for success in self-employment and business management and ownership. And honestly, this is just my favorite topic ever. I talk about this all the time. This has been a huge part of my journey. This could apply to anything. You really don't even need to be a nurse entrepreneur to talk about managing your mindset, because this has been something that has permeated every area of my life. Really and truly, managing my mindset has changed every area of my life. How I think, how I act, how I respond to things, my perspectives, how I view situations that I'm in, how I respond to struggles and challenges. My hair is doing something funny. I'm sorry. I'll stop looking at it. But mindset has literally changed how I do everything as a nurse and as a business owner, because mindset impacts how you view and perceive everything that happens to you. So whether that be in business, whether that be at the bedside, whether that be in nursing school, whether that be after retirement, our mindset literally creates our reality. And that's something I'm going to talk about today. I'm really excited about that because I've been really getting into this. I hate saying it because it just sounds so woo-woo. If any of my friends are watching this live stream, they're like, oh, here she goes into the floofy floof, as Quisha would call it, and the woo-woo, right? Because it is a little bit out there sometimes talking about this kind of stuff, but truly our mindset and how we believe about ourselves and about possibility thinking is a big part of this. And I'm going to talk a lot about that. Really determines what happens. And we are creating our thoughts and our beliefs and putting the things out there about our business, about ourselves, about how we view the world, how we view other people, how we view money. Money has been a big part of this for me. How I view resources has been huge, but this is a big part of what is going to determine success in business. And I really underestimated this for a long time, but your mindset and your beliefs about your business create your reality. So if you believe that you are not qualified to do what you want to do, that is going to significantly affect your ability to do it. If you believe no one would pay you for what you have to offer, or what you have to offer isn't valuable, that is going to show up somewhere. If you believe that, nobody's going to listen to you because you're just a nurse and you have no business training, or you can't have a business because you don't have an MBA, or all these things that come into our minds that we don't control, that we don't manage well, right? We're talking about managing your mindset today. So these things that we don't manage well end up coming out somewhere. So if you've ever noticed like two people with, similar skills, similar background, similar resources have two completely different stories, right? If you ever listen to people's business stories, you've got like these two people and one of them is like a multi-million dollar business owner is like, I grew up with nothing. I never had anything, but I always believed I could do it. Right. And then there's the person who is like, I always wanted a business, but I just knew I was never going to be able to do that because of A, B, C, D, because I don't have an angel investor, because I don't have an MBA, because I wasn't raised with managing money, because I wasn't ever taught how to manage business because I'm just a nurse, or all these stories that we create that we tell ourselves become the reality that we live in, right? And I've been reading tons of books on mindset since I started my business. I have a really good business buddy, Teresa Sanderson, and I remember 5 years ago we were on the phone and she said, this was like my intro to mindset 101. She said, Nina, I don't know if you've thought about this, but you've got some mindset stuff going on. And I'm like, what? She's like, you don't sound like you really believe you can do this. And I don't remember exactly how the conversation went, but I remember talking to her and leaving that conversation and thinking like, she hears me saying that I can't do this, right? Like what she heard from our conversation was that I don't think I can do this, or that I don't know what I'm doing, or I don't know how to do this, or, whatever it was, I relayed this negative thought process that showed up in reality in our conversation. And my point is that shows up in your revenue. It shows up in your clients. It shows up in your messaging. All of these beliefs and stories that we have that we tell ourselves show up somewhere. So managing your mindset is so, so important. And the way you think about yourself, your abilities, and your business ultimately influences your motivation, your confidence, your decisions. And like I said, this directly impacts your revenue and the possibilities that you have for making money. And for me, money was a big part of mindset because I had never considered that there were all these possibilities, right? Mindset is about recognizing the possibilities that are out there and accepting them for yourself, because I did not believe that it was possible. I remember even telling my husband, like, I'll never make $50 an hour. I remember saying those words. I think I was a CNA or LPN at the time, and I was working in long-term care, and I heard about, the DON was making $50 an hour at that time. And I was like, I can't even imagine making $50 an hour. Like that is not even within the realm of possibility. So things, as we open our mindset, things go from impossible to improbable to possible to reality, right? So, we become aware of things that other people have done. We become aware of this awareness in our mind increases about the limitations that we thought were there. And then we push that fence back a little bit. Oh, well, maybe that is possible. If she's doing it, why couldn't I do it? And you push that fence back a little bit, and all of a sudden you have more ground. You're taking more ground, right? You're realizing there's more possibilities than what you originally thought. There's a lot of and I'm not a neuroscientist, okay? There's a lot of neuroscience around this and like how your brain interprets what you think is possible. One of, I think it was a Mel Robbins book I was reading, she was talking about how your brain wants to help you, right? Your brain takes what you say and runs with it. So if you say, I'm going to be a millionaire, I'm a millionaire already, $1 million is out there and all I have to do is take it, I'm going to have $1 million business. Your brain's like, oh, that's what we're doing, I'm going to run with that. But if you're in this belief pathway of saying like, I can't do this, it's too hard, I don't know what I'm doing, I don't know how, nobody's going to pay me, I'm not going to make any money, then your brain interprets that as the direction we're going. Like, okay, we're okay where we are because nothing's happening here, I don't need to be doing anything. And so we are literally giving our brain instructions, reinforcing our thoughts. Are you having a mindset of growth and resilience, or are you having one that's based on fear and lack and limitation? And so I talk to a lot of nurses who feel stuck. The word stuck or like um, overwhelmed or frustrated is really, really, really common in when I talk to nurses and I'm doing coaching and I'm talking to other nurse coaches. Being stuck is a very common mindset piece for nurses, especially, and they believe that there is this limitation, this fence, this block, this gap, this chasm, whatever it is, between what they are capable of and what they want, and there's just no crossing it. For me, I would get I really, and I still do. I say I would because I do a little better with this now, but I get really bogged down in the how. How am I gonna? I know I can do it. I know I can get from here to there, but how am I gonna do it? Right. And so I get tied up in the strategy. I get obsessed with the strategy. Again, back to my friend Teresa. If you are doing your bank code, right? There's these different personality codes, and you have this stress response to when you have a challenge, right? And my stress response is to want a strategy. So now I'm having to train my brain to recognize when I see that I am craving a strategy and I'm needing this blueprint and I'm needing this knowledge and I'm needing the pieces, the answers. It's not because I need those things. It's because I'm stressed and I feel like that's going to be the answer. If I only had the how, then I would know how to get from here to there, right? And that's what I believe is the solution. But with mindset, we have to be able to unlearn those stress responses to say, okay, what have I done before to overcome this? Right? What have I done before to get from here to there? Instead of knowing the strategy, I've never had the strategy. If you know anything about my journey, I have never had a blueprint, a strategy given to me on how to start a business, how to grow a business. I've never had an angel investor. I've never had a mentor who just showed up and was like, I'm going to help you start a business. I got fired from my dream job and I had no other choice but to succeed because at that point, there was no plan B for me to fall back on. So if you are looking for a simple answer that might be out of the stress that you're experiencing or those feelings, those negative feelings you're experiencing because your mindset and beliefs about your business or about who you are and how you're showing up aren't where they need to be, right? And that is the starting place to really turn that around and get to a point where you can get the strategy. The strategy will come when you're walking in aligned action with what you're supposed to do. Then the strategy evolves and you recognize what the next steps are. What is the next right step? Those are the things that I'm seeing have literally happened to me when I let go of having all the answers and I just worked on my mindset. So there are some real dangers to entrepreneurs and especially nurses in business to allowing yourself to get in that lack mentality or that scarcity thinking. You know, these are some terms that get thrown around when we talk about mindset, but they're good terms because they're very clear, right? They really are super clear about how these thought processes play out. So, scarcity and lack thinking are essentially components of self sabotage. They're going to sabotage you and they're going to sabotage your business. They're going to sabotage your clients, your revenue, how you show up, your messaging, your confidence, everything you're doing. They're going to stop you in your path. Well, no one will pay for this. I'm not ready for this. How can I get ready if I don't know what the next step is? What if I fail? What if I don't make any money? What if I spend too much money and I lose it? This is all lack thinking, scarcity. Scarcity, there's not enough. There's not enough clients. There's not enough money. There's not enough resources. I don't have enough knowledge. These are all based on a fear of failing, and that keeps you playing small. This leads to hesitation, undervaluing your own worth and your own services, and thus underpricing your services or not showing up the way you know you need to show up to serve the people you're supposed to serve. It affects your decision making. It is really very damaging to a business and just to you personally, to your own personal growth and development. You're not going to be able to be the person you want to be if you continue to have a scarcity mindset. This is something I can talk very confidently about because this is something I have fought against hard over the last 5 years. I didn't even know I had this until I really started paying attention to how I speak. If you start listening to what you say in your head, you will hear loud and clear the scarcity thinking, because I would start to listen to what I was saying, and I would be saying things like, "You don't even know how to do this. Why are you even trying to do this? You have no idea what you're doing." And those type of negative things. Um, you'll never be able to get to the point where you have a successful business. You don't know enough about business to figure this out. You don't have what it takes to figure this out. You are a nurse and not a business person. You have no business strategy. You're not going to be able to have a successful business. All these lies that we tell ourselves are usually like self-protection, I have found, because it is scary to think about failing. It is scary to think about what if this happened or what if it doesn't work out. And unfortunately, the advice that I have is to ignore those things and reprogram your brain to say, I have always been able to help people. I have always served people. I have always loved people. I have always helped people. I have always been able to figure problems out. I have always been able to be a critical thinker and a high performer. I always have been able to show up in this way and figure out a problem on my own. When no one else would help me, I was able to figure this out. Or whatever it is that you need to say to yourself when you hear those negative thoughts, you have to physically reprogram that scarcity and lack thinking. Those thoughts have to be uh, manually corrected. There is no auto correct where it just automatically changes your thinking from lack to abundance, right? But abundance thinking is what is going to take you to the next level in your business. And it's not strategy, it's not more clients, it's not more employees, it's not more revenue. It is absolutely thinking in abundance, these big picture beliefs that I can do anything. There is no limit to my success. I have enough of everything I need to be successful. And so really ask yourself, do you have a scarcity mindset? Do you feel like success is a limited resource that's going to run out before you get to it? Do you feel like you're always behind? You're comparing yourself to somebody else and you're never enough. You're, doing what you feel like is enough to be successful. Are you making decisions based on fear? Did you decide not to move forward with your business because it might fail? That's a fear-based decision if there's no facts to back it up. Now, if you did market research and found out that the business model, that you were looking at was just not going to be, you know, enough to support you or have the revenue that you want or serve people, there's reasonable things that could support that. But if it's based on fear, then you need to really recognize that this is not a business decision. This is based on scarcity. This is based on a lack mentality that is not healthy and is not going to bring you closer to success. And then, am I ready? I'm not ready. I'm not ready to do this. This is like the age old chicken before the egg type of conversation here, because there is no ready. That is like a diffuse, uh, you know, non-tangible thing where you will never be ready. There will never be a time where you're like, today is the day. I woke up, I have all the pieces in place, everything is planned and well thought out, and now I am ready. That place most likely does not exist for most people. Peter said, one of the things holding me back as a book author is that, will anyone buy my books, right? I don't have a master's. Oh, you hit the nail on the head, Peter. Thanks for bringing this up. This is like the antithesis of everything nurses do. Well, I don't have a master's. I don't have a bachelor's. I don't have an MBA. I don't have a PhD. I don't have my DNP. I'm not an NP. I don't have an FNP. It doesn't matter. No one who needs help asks if you have a master's, right? I certainly have my resume available for clients, but my clients don't care where I've worked before. No one has ever asked me for my resume in 5 years of working for myself. I have never been asked for my resume for a client. Now, for speaking engagements or things like that, where they want to highlight your experience, I have sent my resume to as a response. But, I was just talking to a nurse who is building her business, doing very well. And we were talking about her water heater going out. This is today. I was talking to a nurse coaching client today, and she said, I had to replace my entire water heater. We had no hot water. And I asked her, because this came up with her, and did you ask him how he was going to replace the water heater? Did you want to know the steps that he was going to use to fix your water heater? And she said, no, I never asked him how he was planning on doing it. And I said, would you know if he told you? Would that matter to you? She's like, no, I just wanted hot water. I needed hot water. I don't care if you build a whole new house and put a new hot water heater in it. I need hot water. People want the outcome. They don't care how you're going to do it. If you have a special certification, sometimes it's nice. And especially, I'm not going to say there's never a situation where that's going to help you, because especially if you're doing like a certain government contract and they require a certain certification, that may be beneficial. But in general, for business, you could go open a gas station right now if you wanted, and no one would require you to have an MSN. As a nurse today, you could go open a gas station, a grocery store, a bookstore, a coffee shop, and have nothing needed except a license from the city that you wanted to open the business in. There is nothing stopping you. So this is really, really important that you touched on this, because we create these situations in our mind that are not real. We create this reality that we don't have enough. That's that lack thinking. We create this reality that I have to have more to be able to do this. And it's just not true. It's not real. We can do anything we want with what we currently have, and people are doing it, right? There are LPNs who have highly successful consulting businesses. And when you look in the consulting world, many of these healthcare consultants are not nurses. They don't have a nursing background, right? So we are tricking ourselves into believe that we just don't have enough to do what we want successfully. And it's not true. It is not true. So I think it's really important to recognize we have to push through those unbeliefs. We have to reframe those thoughts. We have to recalibrate how we view ourselves. We have to kind of push through that discomfort and push through that fear and figure out where that's really coming from. And we can do that with some very simple but powerful mindset shifts. For me, honestly, reading books and listening to audiobooks has been a part of that for me, because that is one of my daily mindset practices. I have to listen to things that really support that positive mindset and give me those tools. Mindset is very simple. There's nothing confusing or complicated about it. It is a habit. It is a small, consistent practice every single day to ask yourself those questions. Are these based on success? Are these based on abundance or lack or fear? What is making me feel this way? What is making me think this way? Is it self-doubt or is it facts, right? Is it emotion that I need to push past how I feel and look at what I want? Having really clear goals can help you with this, because you really need to look at where you want to be. One of the books I was reading or listening to actually in Audible is called The Gap and the Gain. And he was talking about measuring success backwards, because you can't look ahead to see if you'll be successful and predict the future, right? You have to look backwards to where you were. So for me, looking backwards 5 years ago, I was hating my corporate dream job, wishing that there was another option, and there wasn't. And then I got fired from that job and was able to help, other nurses recognized that they also wanted to do consulting. And so over these years, I've really been able to see, looking back, each step of my journey helped me get to the next step. I started as a CNA. I got my LPN. I got my RN. I um, moved into leadership. I moved into multi-location leadership in a corporate role. I thought that was success. I defined success by these career moves that I was making, and I had to get fired to figure out, wait a second, that's not success, because now here I am and what am I going to do, right? So we have to figure out, um, find that place of confidence in ourselves that it's going to be enough. I have to take a water break. So I'm getting too excited. Allie said, always love the book suggestions. Books have really been important to me. They have done a lot. They have done a lot for me. Other things are affirmations. I talk about this a lot. Saying I am successful isn't enough. You have to really align with that, and like, why do you believe that to be true? And then, build in those affirmations to when you are not feeling successful, right? Because when your thoughts go negative, when your mindset starts to take a turn, what are you going to do to be able to correct that and to make that translate into your actions? Are your actions reinforcing your success mindset? Because if you're not showing up for your business and you're not showing up in the way that continues that growth that you're saying you have as a successful business owner, if you're not showing up as a millionaire and you're not being the person who has $1 million business, you're sitting at home waiting for that to happen and saying, why isn't this working? Then that is not going to work, right? So you can say I am successful, and you can say the affirmations, but if you're not showing up as the person who you want to be, it's not going to work. So the other thing that I love is, again, so simple. These are all super small shifts with a really, really big impact. But gratitude and abundance thinking, I talked about this for a second, but a gratitude practice of, like, even when things are not exactly what you want them to be, like, I'm so thankful for this experience. I'm so grateful for this conversation that was so encouraging. I see these things happening. I see these opportunities opening up, and I'm so grateful for that, because truly, focusing on that positive abundance is going to help you see what's possible. It's going to help you move that fence, move that border back, and really training yourself to see that abundance on how you can approach new business opportunities, new possibilities, things that you didn't recognize before. So it's really, really important to, to make sure that we are staying aligned and staying present in that practice of gratitude. I am my own best advocate, and I have to practice it a lot. I love that, Allie. I agree. We really need to not beat ourselves up so much, really be advocates for ourselves and what we know we can do. And instead of defeating ourselves and be self-defeating, to be lifting ourselves up and affirming ourselves, and really, like, affirming the value that we have and that we bring to our clients and our friends and our family and our patients, and, in any setting. And then finally, the last piece is really staying focused through these challenges, right? So when you get down, when you're like, I'm stuck, I'm just stuck, I'm overwhelmed, I don't know the next step, I don't know how to show up. How are we going to stay focused when these things happen? Because that's really what's going to define your success. Are you going to give up? Are you going to say, well, there's just that's just proof, right? That's just proof that there's not enough for me, or that I'm not successful, or that's just confirming that my fears are correct, right? So how are you going to respond? How are you going to treat obstacles? This is all about perception. This is completely about how we perceive what's happening to us. Because I put in my LinkedIn post, the thing I love the most about mindset, the thing I hold the most dear about attitude, it is the only thing I can control. Your mindset and your attitude and how you perceive and personalize and respond and react and reply is the only thing in your life you control. And so I love that because when everything feels like it's not going the way I want it to go, or it's I'm stuck, I'm overwhelmed, I don't know the next step, my perception and how I view myself and others and how I continue to show up is 100% in my control. I control 100% of my mindset, my thoughts. Now, maybe you don't initially control your thoughts when they come into your mind and say, like, you shouldn't be doing this anyway, and that's why it's not working. You control how you respond to your thoughts, and you can reframe those thoughts and say, I'm choosing not to believe that for myself right now. I'm choosing to show up anyway, even if all the proof leads to failure. I'm choosing to show up anyway. Right before I took over as the NNBA president and went through the whole process of acquiring the NNBA, I moved back from Hawaii in 2023, and I needed help to move back from Hawaii because I didn't have the resources to do that. We knew it was time to move back. And so I took a contract position as a DON, and I, had this contract in place where I was working with a facility, and I felt like a huge fraud. I'm like, everything I've been working towards for the last 4 years. I'm coaching nurses on self-employment. I'm showing up like I've never shown up before. And now, I essentially just took a job. I committed to this position to get back to Tennessee. And, now I'm not who I say I am, and my business is going slower than ever. And, it's just not going how I thought it would go. And it's not working out, and it's just not what I want it to be. And literally going through that process, on the other side of that, if you measure backwards and you look back, my business now, both of the businesses I operate are just doing better than I could have ever imagined, right? So I'm the president of the NNBA. That was not even on the horizon at that time. That was not even a possibility I recognized could happen. And I had maybe one or two clients for my consulting business. And I thought, like, well, maybe this is over and maybe I just need to get a job because this is just not enough to support me. And literally immediately following that experience, I have over 10 active clients. I have the NNBA. All of these things happened that my mindset had to be there to say, okay, I have to be grateful for this experience that I'm in right now and not be worried that it's not the right thing. And something that I have really been embracing is that it's always the right thing. There is no bad decision in business. If that's the decision you made at the time and that's what you felt aligned with, that was the right decision for that time, right? And so I think how we perceive our experiences as, we label this as a failure. I labeled this experience as me failing in my own business. It was not. It was the decision I had to make for my family at the time. It was the best decision I could have made for my family at the time. And now, because of that decision, I'm in an amazingly better place. So, it may not feel like it in the moment, and that's okay. It's okay to acknowledge those feelings. I'm certainly not suggesting that you live in a place of denial and say it's not what it is, but looking at it objectively and saying, like, why am I labeling this as a failure when this is the right decision that I needed to make at that time, right? I'm going to believe that that was the right decision. And so as we kind of reframe our failure as feedback, what am I going to learn from this? What can I take away from this? What did I learn from that experience? Well, I learned that I can never be an employee again, right? So I learned from that contract, from that short 6-month, you know, experience as a DON. I can never be anyone's employee again. I can never be treated like an employee again. I can never be in that position where I rely on someone else for my paycheck and allow them to limit what I make, because the way we view money is either I know I need to have this amount. And as long as I have a job, I'll get that amount. And before I got fired from my dream job, I really believed that. But after I lost my job and I started to see how much money I could make as a consultant, I had a contract where it went so well and it took so little time last year that I ended up making $1,000 an hour from that contract. And it's not because I overcharged them, it's because we agreed on a price for the project. They were super happy with how it came, with the way it came together. And it just so happened that it didn't take the time that I thought it was going to take. This solution was right there. I had a team. We brought it together. They picked up the heavy lifting, and I was just able to facilitate, right? I would have never in my lifetime imagined that I could make $1,000 an hour, ever. It wasn't possible. It's impossible. It's an impossibility, right? And now I've done it. So it's like the way that we kind of use these learning experiences to build our future self and to define what success is going to be huge. So if you find yourself spiraling, what's your plan to reset? Become aware of it, take action. That's how we build resilience and confidence. It's developed through how we handle those difficulties, how we respond to those setbacks, how we view them. Are we going to label them as a failure, or are we going to say, this was an experience that I needed to have to learn what the next right step was? I needed to learn I don't want to feel that way anymore, right? If that was the only thing we take away, is I needed to learn not to do that again, or I needed to learn something from that. It's really how we choose to view it, how we choose to accept our circumstances and be grateful for it anyway. I love the conversation going on in the comments here, because we also really need accountability and peer support. I've been very fortunate to have a network of faithful people who showed up for me, and really supported me and called me out when I was not making good decisions, or when I was not in a right mindset. Like I mentioned, Teresa did, but also my husband. My husband has been one to definitely say, like, wow, that sounds like a lack mentality, if I've ever heard one. If I'm like, well, it's not going to work anyway. I literally have said those words about things I've been working on. And he's like, what do you mean it's not going to work? It is working. It's working right now. It takes time. And so I think we have to have those voices and that support that is there to say, it is working, right? Be patient. It is working. It takes time, and it takes showing up as who we want to be for a long time, right? Success comes to those who keep showing up. They're the ones, the successful business owners are the ones who are reframing, remodeling, revamping, doing more market research, remessaging, and continually showing up. And if what you're doing isn't working, I always have to plug like a network and mentoring, and really, like, if you're not making money, then something's going wrong, because either you need to work on your messaging, no one knows what you're doing, or you need to look at market research and look at who your audience is, who you're marketing to. Maybe you're talking to the wrong person. Maybe you're offering something they don't need. There's a lot of components there, but you should be making money as a business owner. Otherwise, you're just volunteering and you're going to get frustrated, right? You want to see that revenue coming in. And as you work on your mindset, as you work on that abundance thinking, it is coming. That is something that I have had to believe. Like, one of my personal affirmations is like, it's coming. It's happening. I feel this feeling of excitement, this nervous excitement that I know it's happening for me and I know it's coming. I will share, last week, I had the biggest week in my entire business ever. The amount of money that came in was more than I made most months last year, in a week. And I was so blown away. But I knew it was possible. I knew it was coming. I knew I just had to keep showing up. So thanks, Shannon. Success comes to those who keep showing up. It's so true. It really, really is true. That we can't just sit around and wait. There's nothing there's nothing that's going to happen sitting around waiting. So you choose what feels authentic and genuine and keep showing up in that way, and it will happen for you. So that really is all of the insights and advice on mindset. If you can't tell, if you couldn't tell from today, this is one of my favorite topics. And also, I just want to say this is going to be a huge focus for the conference this year because it is such a big issue, especially for nurses in business. We really have to stay focused and resilient and really be in a place of abundance and recognizing the possibilities that are out there for us, because they really are absolutely limitless possibilities for nurses right now in self-employment, in independent practice, and in business. What I'm seeing nurses do is mind blowing. It's amazing. And so a big part of our focus for the conference this year is mindset. And we've got amazing speakers talking about that. Our keynote speaker, Sunny Linebarger, she is talking about mindset. I'm super excited. She's talking about the power of possibility. And she's actually the CEO of a hospice, and she also has the Evoke Greatness podcast. Hey, it's just a bird. We're safe. Sorry. My dog is protecting me. But I'm really excited about the content on mindset that we are going to be covering at the conference, because I think it's so important to really be layering on those affirmations and those reminders. But, those are going to be some of the topics that we talk about. And then Sharice Williams, a friend of mine and a holistic health coach and business consultant, is going to be closing out the conference talking about how to keep the passion and the purpose in your business as we go out. And I'm super excited for that as well. So almost all of the topics, when I look at the agenda, have a mindset component built in, because it is so important to be keeping that top of mind. I'm so glad you just stumbled upon this, Shannon. And we do this every Tuesday, usually at 1 p.m. Central. There's a little bit of wiggle room there, just depending on scheduling. Usually Casey Goff, our member engagement coordinator, does these with me. You can find all the replays on our YouTube channel as well. We've been trying to kind of build up a little library there. So if you go to YouTube and go to Nurses Business, you can find all of the replays. I just aged myself by saying reruns. I'm sorry. You can catch the replays at our YouTube channel at Nurses Business. And I think, Allie, you were mentioning market research, the market research topic we did last week. That's also on the YouTube. I'll go make sure I uploaded that, actually. I'm not sure if I did. But that market research topic is on the YouTube as well. And a guide. Ooh, a market research guide. You know what? I actually might have one. Let me see if I can make that available to our NNBA members, because I think that would actually be super helpful for a lot of people. And I have created that before for my coaching clients. So you just gave me a good idea. I will go find that market analysis guide and provide that for the NNBA membership. So I'll write that down. I'll put a pin in that and put that on my list. It's a bird. We're safe. Sorry, you're going to hear my dog barking in the background. Any other questions or thoughts before we close out? This has been so amazing. Thank you so much for all the conversation in the chat. I don't know if you know how encouraging that is to hear and see the conversation, how that evolves and how that supports people and how we can support each other. It's just so encouraging to me. I'm so grateful. Practicing that gratitude and that abundance. There are people who want to help you. There are people who want to support you. If you're not an NNBA member, that is a great place to get that support too. I can't overlook sharing that my friends in business who have come out of just networking at NNBA conferences and things like that, it has been absolutely amazing what we have been able to overcome as far as mindset goes. But the National Nurses in Business Association is here is here to help, is here to encourage you, is here to support you, and there is an limitless network of different types of businesses, consulting, coaching, concierge, brick and mortar, products, retail, tech. It is amazing what nurses are doing. And so if you're not a member and you feel like you need support, you can become a member at nursesbusiness.com/memberships. We'd love to have you as a member. And you can always catch up with us next Tuesday. So thank you guys so much for joining. It was so great just to be encouraged by the conversation today.